Hi everyone, I'm Thierry and I'm happy to introduce dltHub Workspaces. You're probably familiar already with DLT. DLT is a free open source Python library to do data engineering. On the left, you see several things that you can produce with DLT. So a dataset, pipeline, and grayed out, you see things that are currently in early access or in development, but I'll be sharing the progress we're making on these fronts with you today. So the notebook and the transformations. On the right, you see DuckDB. It's our favorite option for local storage because you're able to store things in DuckDB and also do compute efficiently. So this allows you to run pipelines, test things, debug, but also it connects well to the Workspace agent. This is the set of AI capabilities, for example, like the MCP server, that are included in the dltHub workspace. And so another big piece, as you see in blue, is the LLM context, and that's what we're releasing today. And together, all of these pieces make it very easy for a single developer to write a pipeline in 10 minutes. And that's what I will be trying to do today. The use case I picked is building a DLT pipeline that retrieves the API admin endpoint to see how much we're spending on API tokens. It's a very relatable use case. So this is a teaser of the landing page that you will now be seeing on the dltHub website. You see we talk about scaffoldings. So those are a set of files that are available for several hundreds connectors. And these set of files are designed to work nicely with LLMs. And that's what I will demonstrate today. And they make it very easy for you to start from a boilerplate and quickly get a working connector. Now I will be going to Cursor and I will start with the most valuable command, git init. And I'm using UV as a package manager, and it allows you to install tools globally. So I can UV tool install DLT workspace. I won't be running the command because I already did before. And then you can do UVX to execute the different tools that you have. So I will do UVX DLT, init, dltHub, OpenAI admin. So this is the scaffolding I want to retrieve from dltHub. And I want to push data to DuckDB. Yes. And on the left, you see a lot of things popped up, and it even created a virtual environment. You can do git add period. It should pick up everything, and git commit setup. Okay, so what did the initialization command do exactly? One thing it did is add a set of cursor rules that will be picked up by the IDE. Those are informations about DLT. You see how to extract pagination, for instance, and those rules are helping Cursor and the IDE be aware of DLT. Then the DLT directory is something you're familiar with. If you use DLT before, it includes a config toml and secrets toml that will be. And now it also includes an MCP server. We always promote the hacker mentality, and here it's the entire MCP server is there in a single file. It's easy for you to audit for security purposes and also to modify, add tools, and tweak for your own. And the configuration of the MCP server, the command even configured the MCP server inside Cursor out of the gate. And then finally, the scaffolding I was talking about. So you see it includes information about several available endpoints and some general notes that are useful for the LLM. So the type of errors you could be seeing, how to use pagination, and also how to connect to the REST API client. Then you have the virtual environment, cursor ignore and git ignore files that are, it's useful so that you're not committing your secrets. And then a base template that's adjusted to the source you just loaded. Okay, so I'll try running this pipeline by doing just Python. Okay, yeah, first always activate your virtual environment, and then you can try to run the pipeline. I expect this to fail because I didn't set my API key. But if you read through it, should be pretty clear. It's missing the API key field, how it's resolved, the environment variable, secret stumble, but you can always just ask the LLM. So bash refers to this terminal window, and I can ask it, please fix the config issue. So now it's saying that it's looking for secrets, it's not set, that I should add it myself. It's not able to see this file because it's in the ignore. So I will just blur my screen and copy the appropriate API key to the file. And now back to my screen. Okay, so now that I set up the API key, okay, we have a few warnings, but it did complete. So we see there's a paginator that was like the fallback was automatically detected, and it's also saying that some fields that were picked up were empty. Okay, then we can ask here to our MCP, what are the available tables? There are many ways to inspect your DLT pipelines, but it's very convenient to be able to do it in natural language. You can do it from any interface, so you maybe have users that are not developers or that are not in the IDE, and they care about this, right? So you can ask even when was data last loaded. DLT produces a lot of very useful metadata, and so this is directly on your destination. Right now we're on a local DuckDB instance, but if you were on Snowflake, you could get the same information remotely and safely. Okay, so we have information. This is my local time. Actually, this is not my local time zone, but the timestamps are in Unix UTC. All right, so this is just the beginning. The next thing that I find very cool is if you want to edit this file, you can ask the LLM what are the available endpoints, and it should use the MCP to read the scaffolding and then suggest me changes. So I can ask it then to add the organization costs endpoint. And usually it does a pretty good job. So now it's looking at the details of the endpoint. We'll look at my file and suggest some changes. This is very naive, but should fail because it's missing a required parameter. But sometimes it gets it first try, but if I give it, slow down a bit on my screen. Okay, if I ask it to fix the error, very generic request on purpose to see if it's able to figure it out. Okay, so it's see, you need to specify the required parameter. Would you like to hard code a default value or configure it? Again, it's aware of the ability to configure things with DLT. Hard code a value of minus 30 days. I'll say now minus 30. So again, this is just for the purpose of the demo. We'll be retrieving the last 30 days. And here you see linting errors. And what's nice is that Cursor is able to automatically retrieve these linting errors and suggest changes. So I know this is not right. Yeah, okay, it even figured out that the suggestion it made before is not correct. This was not the issue. The issue was that, actually, no, it didn't. My mistake. This is correct. It's missing a name field. But then, again, just passing the terminal, fix it. Again, if you know how to use DLT, it might be faster to do it yourself in a minute. But the point I'm trying to make is that we're getting very close to a place where this can be done in a closed loop. And with minimal human supervision, you can edit, modify, update your data connectors. So it's adding the name, but it seems to be something else. I think we'll figure out that this is not correct. Again, this is the part where human time is well invested, but you can now rerun your pipeline. It should not encounter error. Thank you. Some told me to not say thank you to bots, so I won't. Okay. Yes. Okay, I know what the next issue is. We're having fun, and this was all set up for you to see how good LLMs are. So, terminal, can you fix the pagination issue? If you don't set up pagination, the OpenAI endpoint hangs. I didn't look into it more than I needed, but we'll ask the LLM to fix it. I think this will be incorrect. It didn't set it up for the other resources. I can try again. We can give it the scaffolding, which will be helpful to explicitly retrieve it. Use the scaffolding to fix the error. I'm getting close to the 10-minute marks, so I will try to be using my human insights and wisdom to fix the bugs. But the AI is doing pretty good so far. Okay, it added a limit clause. Why not? Okay. So it added some complexity to some other things that I will just remove. Oh, okay, so yeah, with Cursor you have to check everything before you can make edits yourself. Let's just okay. Let's try what it tested before complaining. Cost. The first two had no issue if you were using the fallback default, but limit 30. Maybe it's because I'm retrieving dates further in the past. We'll give it a minute. Shouldn't be that much data. Here you can even ask, let's say you have a pipeline that seems to be hanging. You can ask the MCP, when was data last loaded? Again, it's the same time as earlier, so we know that this did not complete. I'll give it the terminal issue again. Say, there seems to be an issue with pagination. Keep it simple. Think in the rules. Keep it simple. And then I can give it again the OpenAI YAML. Use pagination for the organization costs. Endpoint. I know that it should find organization costs, start time, end time, bucket with project IDs, group by, limit, and page. So for use in pagination. Stop it, and then you can give it. Might be slightly confused when it has when it doesn't know which endpoint you're asking about. Now it should work. I expect this code to work. Before I was a bit in doubt, but this. It's taking a bit more time nonetheless because we're retrieving more data, and now, okay, success. So we can ask the MCP again, how many rows of cost data? Went straight to SQL. I'm curious to know if it, yeah, I guess it doesn't know the columns. Okay, cool. Okay, and yeah, 30 makes sense. That's the limit I set here. I don't know if it's cheated somehow looking at the code. No, it just counted. Okay. Okay, so I guess this is almost a success for the 10 minutes. Oh, you're right. I tried to clear. Did it say your request is noted? Your request is noted. That's not what I meant. Clear here. I will, if I do git status, I should see my changes. Git add. Working pipeline. Good job.